Now I'm going to look at the impact of sprinklers on buildings designed to BS-line, the new code of practice for fire safety in the design, management and use of buildings. And BS-line is going to be a huge code. It's going to be used everywhere. Let's look at the impact. All buildings must have a risk profile, and that risk profile will determine everything. It will determine the travel distances, the corridor widths, the stair widths and the door widths. They're all based on this risk profile. Now, because the code is specifying a fire growth rate as part of the risk profile, what effect will sprinklers have on the fire growth rate? Now, in a room, the fire will grow until the hot gases reach the sprinkler head, and then, allowing for some thermal lag, the sprinkler head will operate and the fire will generally stop growing. In other words, you've got a sprinkler head, the fire grows, it reaches its operating temperature, it pops, it will generally then put out the fire, or at least stop it growing. Now, the size of the fire at the time of the sprinkler operation can be considered to be the design fire size, which is what they use in design. They work out when it goes off, it's going to be about a 5 megawatt fire. That's what we use as our design fire size. Now, it can be also assumed that the fire will have a constant rate of heat release, which generally, that's what they assume, but obviously it hasn't. It's a growing fire. In fact, experiments in the United States in small compartments have shown that heat release rates generally will fall by 50% over a very few minutes when sprinklers are installed in buildings. So generally what it means is if you've got a medium fire growth rate, if the sprinklers go off, it will automatically reduce quickly back to, say, a slow fire growth rate. Now, that's how the code is taken based on line, the impact of sprinklers. As you can see on here, you've got an ultra-fast fire growth rate with that steep, you've got a fast fire growth rate. What it says, if you put sprinklers in a building, you can reduce the fire growth rate by a factor of 1. Which means an A4, which is an ultra-fast fire growth rate, can be considered to be a fast to medium. Now actually, in real life, if that sprinkler system was designed correctly, you're not going to get any fire growth rate. Generally, what fires do is the sprinklers go off, it puts the fire out. However, the code has been cautious, rightly so, and it allows you to reduce the fire growth rate by 1. Now, what does that do? Well, if you reduce an A4 to an A3, you've reduced the risk profile. Because you've reduced risk profile, you've changed everything. What does that mean? Well, it means travel distances can be extended. It means the aggregate exit width requirements for means of escape is reduced. It means corridor widths are reduced. You've got narrower staircases. But let's expand on that then. This table here, table 17, from BS-line, as you can see on here, if you've got a travel distance, for example, at A2 of 75 metres and 24, if you put sprinklers in, you can increase the travel distances to 90 and 30 metres. If you've got a typical shop, which is a B3, the travel distances are 60 metres and 20 metres. If you put sprinklers in, you can increase it from 60 to 75 metres. You can increase the travel distance by 15 metres by putting sprinklers in, and then it can increase the travel distance from 20 to 24 metres on the dead end. Do you understand? Because you've changed the risk profile, you've changed everything. Everything's changed. Travel distances, exit width, stair widths, fires. You've changed everything because you've changed the risk. And that's the impact of sprinklers in BS-line. What about the aggregate exit width requirement? If you've got a bar, for example, and you've got so many people in there and you maybe need 8 metres available aggregate exit width to get people out, based on a B2 risk profile for a bar. Well, if you put sprinklers in, now it's a B1, you can reduce the required means of escape for the aggregate exit width. What it actually means, if it's an existing building, you've got sprinklers in, you can actually increase the licence on those premises. So that's the impact on means of escape. Because you've changed the risk profile, you've changed the means of escape requirements. That means you can potentially increase licences in bars and reduce the required aggregate exit width required for means of escape because you've changed the risk profile. What about staircase widths? If you've got a staircase that wide, you put sprinklers and it's that wide. Do you understand? Because you're reducing the risk profile, you're knocking it down. And a big impact on staircases is BS-line says if sprinklers are installed in a building, the stair discounting process doesn't apply. Well, what does that mean to you as the client? Well, you can actually significantly reduce the staircase width in a building with sprinklers. So you need to look at the impact of sprinklers on the design to do it BS-line, because at least that understands the benefits they can offer, and your staircase widths are massively reduced due to sprinklers.